Yo, what's up, Facebook? It's your boy, Mike the Mentor, coming at you live for Tuesday Thoughts. Sorry, this is a little later than I usually do this, but just got done taking the fam to see The Lion King. There's some mixed thoughts about it. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I didn't mind it. I definitely don't think personally that it was as good as the original Lion King, but it's crazy how far cinema's gone or has come. And just how realistic CGI, I think is the term. I'm not a movie buff like that for all that stuff. But I thought tonight would be an interesting night, and we could talk about how well do you know yourself. And I'm going to share a little test that I took and the results of that with you guys, and just kind of let you a little bit more into my world. Coming at you from my son's room. He's with his grandparents for 2 weeks out in Minnesota, and my daughter's downstairs learning how to do the dishes in the dishwasher. So I thought I'd come up here where it's a little bit more quieter. So yeah, welcome if you're watching the replay. Appreciate you tuning in. Skip the introduction. You can find lots of videos on my Mike the Mentor page that'll explain my history, my background, kind of why I'm doing this. But yeah, so yesterday was Monday. Man, I lose track of days. And I was challenged on a coaching call with one of my mentors to really give some thought to answering some questions. And there were some really hard questions. And I don't mind hard questions, but sometimes it's tough to take a real look at you and your expectations and where you're at and what you want to do with life, and to see if your actions are living up to those things, and to kind of take stock and measure, especially when they go below the surface, right? And you really have to define like what you want, and not only define what you want, but where you're currently at as you pursue those things. And it was tough, and what made it tougher was to take that information and then to post it inside our private group for others to see. So you talk about vulnerability. That it was a good exercise for sure, and I needed it. So I thought that maybe tonight would be a good night to do that with you guys. These aren't the questions that my mentor had me ask, because those are more business type questions. But um, I'm big on self-reflection. I'm big on taking different tests, because I feel like as part of stewarding the gifts that you've been given in life and becoming the person that you were created to be, you really have to know yourself. And a lot of us don't take time to get to know ourselves, and we BS ourselves, and we BS others because we don't want to do that deep reflection. So I'm going to share with you one of the tests that I took a while back, and just kind of what it says about me, and maybe encourage you to do the same. I believe it was free, but it's interesting, to see what lines up and maybe what doesn't. So tonight's Tuesday Thoughts is basically how well do you know yourself. So let me share my screen here, and I will reveal what. Sorry. All right, here we go. So this is a test called 16 Personalities. It's the Briggs-Myers test, and you answer a bunch of questions. It's pretty interesting. And so this is what I am. I am a ISFJ-A. The A, I believe, is for assertive. And this is my Briggs-Myers profile if you've never taken this test. And the people at 16 Personalities, they label me as a defender. And I find that kind of interesting, because growing up, man, I hated bullies. I was bullied myself, and I was just telling somebody this morning about a bully I had in elementary school. I was in first grade, and they were older, and him and another kid picked me up and they threw me in the trash bin, like the big trash bins that you see that uh, garbage trucks drop off, right? The big ones with the double flaps that open up. This was behind our elementary school, and at recess they threw me in there, and I had egg all over my head. And I remember climbing out crying, and these two kids were laughing at me, and the one was like, oh, look at the little baby. And, that was probably one of the first times in my life that I tried to stand up for myself, and I punched this kid in the face as hard as I could, and he proceeded to chase me the rest of the recess. And it's kind of ironic because our elementary was right next to this baseball diamond, so if you got in trouble at recess, you got put against the fence of the baseball diamond. You had to sit there or stand there the whole recess and watch all the other kids play. And so the lunch monitors figured out what was going on pretty fast, and we both got punished to spend a week at the fence. And through a series of events at the fence, we were actually able to become somewhat friends. It's an interesting recurring theme in my life of either fighting people and then becoming good friends with me, or through basketball. It seems to be one of the two. My wife makes fun of me all the time about it. So yeah, the defender personality. So let's read some of this. Love only grows by sharing. You can only have more of yourself by giving it away to others. Interesting. I took this, I think, last year, but I haven't revisited in a while. So the defender personality type is quite unique, as many of their qualities defy the definition of their individual traits. Those sensitive defenders have excellent analytical abilities, though reserved. They have well-developed people skills and robust social relationships. And though they are generally a conservative type, defenders are often receptive to change and new ideas. And with so many things, people with the defender personality type are more than the sum of their parts, and it is the way they use these strengths that defines who they are. Interesting. I think that does do a pretty good job of describing me overall. If you know me and you're watching this and you know me good, I'd be interested to see if you think these things line up with who I am, or maybe who I come across as or appear to be. This last line, personality type are more than the sum of its parts, and it is the way that they use these strengths that defines who they are. I think that could be applicable to anybody. Defenders are true altruists, meaning kindness with kindness in excess, and engaging the work and the people they believe in with enthusiasm and generosity. There's hardly a better type to make up such a large proportion of the population, nearly 13%, combining the best of tradition and the desire to do good. Defenders are found in the lines of work with a sense of history behind them, such as medicine, academics, and charitable societal work. Interesting. Well, I'm in finance for my day job, and I run a marketing agency on the side, so maybe that could be considered charitable social work, or maybe Mike the Mentor's charitable social work. Defender personalities, especially turbulent ones, are often meticulous to the point of perfectionism, and though they procrastinate, they can always be relied on to get the job done on time. Defenders take their responsibilities personally, consistently going above and beyond, doing everything they can to exceed expectations and delight others at work and at home. I'd say that's pretty accurate. This whole thing with taking responsibilities personally, it makes me think of this line that I hate, and it's I heard it all the time growing up, and it just, I don't believe it's true, and it just pisses me off. And it's people would always say it's just business, it's not personal, right? Like, but to me, like, I always took that stuff personal, and I wasn't very good at I guess separating the two. So thus something I still deal with to this day. We must be seen to be believed. The challenge for defenders is ensuring that what they do is noticed. They have a tendency to underplay their accomplishments, and while their kindness is often respected, More cynical and selfish people are likely to take advantage of defenders' dedication and humbleness by pushing work on them and taking the credit. That is very true in my life. I've had that play out a lot of times. Not necessarily the taking the credit part, but people pushing their responsibilities and work on me, and me not necessarily sticking up for myself and putting it back onto them. I think I've done a pretty good job of getting away from that in the last year, which has resulted in some interesting conversations. But it's something I still work through. Defenders need to know when to say no and stand up for themselves if they are to maintain their confidence and enthusiasm. Yeah, I mean, I will definitely take on a lot if I'm being honest here, and uh, I tend to not push back until I get to a breaking point. And when I get to a breaking point, like, I don't know what you would nickname you would call it, like Big Mike the Hulk comes out, man, and I'm a completely different person when I'm mad. Um, when I'm mad. So hope you guys never have to see that. Hope maybe I don't have to deal with that ever again in my life. But I digress. Naturally social and an odd quality for introverts. Defenders utilize excellent memories not to retain data and trivia, but to remember people and details about their lives. When it That's interesting because I remember all kinds of crazy stats in, I guess, what you consider trivia. I mean, I was like known for that when I was a kid, like just knowing the craziest things about sports players. Like besides their like batting average or their points or any of that, I knew like what their vertical jump was, like what they studied in high school, all these crazy things. But this says, to remember people, what I guess a little secret about me is there's times where I'm horrible with people's names when I first meet them, but I definitely remember the details about their lives. So I find that interesting. When it comes to gift giving, defenders have no equal, using their imagination and natural sensitivity to express their generosity in ways that touch the hearts of their recipients. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate about me. If I'm going to give a gift, I tend to put a lot of thought into it, and I study people because I want that to be meaningful and to really affect their life and have an impact and not just be something. Ordinary is not the right word I'm thinking of, but something that will move their life forward or make a big difference or some type of difference in their life. While this is certainly true of their coworkers, whom people with a defender personality type often consider their personal friends, it is in family that their expressions of affection fully bloom. If I can protect you, I will. That is me to a T. Defender personalities are a wonderful group, rarely sitting idle while a worthy cause remains unfinished. Defenders' ability to connect with one another or with others on an intimate level is unrivaled among introverts, and the joy they experience in using these connections to maintain a supportive, happy family is a gift for everyone involved. They may never be truly comfortable in the spotlight and may feel guilty taking due credit for team efforts, but if they can ensure that their efforts are recognized, defenders are likely to feel a level of satisfaction in what they do that many other personality types can only dream of. Interesting. I wonder, like, if I would have took this when I was a kid, if I would have yielded a different result. The introvert piece is interesting because I've taken other tests in the past, and literally I will like grade like right down the middle between being introvert and an extrovert, and I'll have a slight leaning towards one or the other depending on what type of mood I'm in that day. It's kind of like almost like a chameleon. So this part's kind of funny. Defenders you may know: Beyonce, Queen Elizabeth, Aretha Franklin. Vin Diesel. Someone told me I looked like Vin Diesel the other day. That was a good laugh. Usually it's The Rock. Someone told me I looked like who's the guy that plays the piano and sings? Shoot, what is his name? I don't know. You people who listen to all the music, you would know. He sings "Ordinary People." That song. I can't think of his name. Halle Berry, Kate Middleton, Anne Hathaway, Lance Reddick. Interesting. Selena Gomez, Caitlin Stark, Samwise Gamgee, The Lord of the Rings, Dr. Watson, Captain America, booyah, Triss Marigold, The Witcher series, Will Turner from the Pirates of the Caribbean, Pam Beesly. Should share that with my wife. We literally watch The Office every night. Netflix, baby. Vito Corleone from The Godfather. Wow. Bree Vandekamp, Desperate Housewives. I'll have to ask my wife about that one too. Alright, so let's dive into a little strengths and weaknesses, be a little bit more vulnerable. And I definitely encourage you guys to, take this test for yourself. I'm pretty sure it's free. If it costs something, it's hardly anything, but it's definitely interesting insight into your life. And they give you all this information over here: romantic relationships, friendships, parenthood, career paths, workplace habits, conclusion. An academy, I think, is like something you can join. They like upsell you, and you can learn, you can read thousands and thousands of pages on these personality types. So, strengths: supportive. Defenders are the universal helpers, sharing their knowledge, experience, time, and energy with anyone who needs it, and all the more so with friends and family. People with this personality type strive for win-win situations, choosing empathy over judgment whenever possible. Yeah, that's definitely true. I've been known to share too much, uh, when I get on a phone call, especially with like a prospect or, a client, just trying to go over and above. I mean, I love teaching. I love sharing information and wisdom and knowledge and just stuff I've learned with others. I definitely don't have a scarcity mentality when it comes to protecting or uh, feeling like you got to keep stuff a secret, and there's more than enough to go around. Reliable and patient. Rather than offering sporadic, excited rushes that leave things half finished, defenders are meticulous and careful, taking a steady approach and bending with the needs of the situation just enough to accomplish their end goals. Defenders not only ensure that the things are done to the highest standards, but often go well beyond what is required. Yeah, I definitely say I'm meticulous. I had a business partner, like in one of my first ventures when I was like 23 or something, and he was a ready, fire, aim type of guy, and we used to kind of butt heads all the time because I would be trying to gather information and plan strategies and steps, and we balanced each other out though, because sometimes I'd get in that perfectionist mode, and when you do that, you don't ever accomplish anything because nothing's ever good enough to move forward with. Imaginative and observant. Defenders are very imaginative and use this quality as an accessory to empathy, observing others' emotional states and seeing things from their perspective. With their feet firmly planted on the ground, it is very practical imagination, though they do find things quite fascinating and inspiring. Man, that nails it right in the head. I do. I'm super curious about stuff. Uh, and I will ask people if they'll let me so many questions about why they think what they think, like who they are, like why they believe what they believe, all kinds of stuff. Um, and this observant thing, like, yeah, that's interesting, because I feel like my environment growing up without having a dad and then always just watching what other men were doing and seeing if they were going to, if their actions were going to line up with their words, made me very observant. I'm kind of like a Terminator, right? When I meet somebody, I'm just like watching them and dissecting like all their actions and what they're saying, and um, trying to read between the lines a lot of times between about maybe how they feel, or what they're really saying. I'd say it served me pretty good. At sometimes I've screwed up and I've overstepped my bounds, or um, probably made people to feel like I was judging them. Um, yeah. Enthusiastic. When the goal is right, defenders take all this support, reliability, and imagination and apply it to something they believe will make a difference in people's lives. Very true. Whether fighting poverty with a global initiative or simply making a customer's day. Loyal and hardworking. Given a little time, this enthusiasm grows into loyalty. Defender personalities often form an emotional attachment to the ideas and organizations they've dedicated themselves to. Anything short of meeting their obligations with good hard work fails their own expectations. Yeah, that's right on again about the loyal and hardworking. The loyal piece, when I start something, like, it's interesting because I'll metaphorically almost go to the ends of the earth to finish whatever it is I start. Even if that's like trying to help somebody, and sometimes you got to know when to cut bait and move on. And that's kind of hindered me at times. Good practical skills. The best part is defenders have the practical sense to actually do something with all this altruism. If mundane routine tasks are what need to be done, defenders can see the beauty and harmony that they create because they know that it helps them to care for their friends, family, and anyone else who needs it. Yeah, I'd say that that's pretty correct too. Like, I don't need to be the guy that scores the points. I don't need to be the guy that makes the pass. I'm willing to do whatever it is to help the team win, because that's all I care about is getting that win. So whatever part I need to play, that's necessary. Can I help you?
Hello.
Hello, what's up?
Hey, everybody.
Do you need something?
Nope.
Your breath smells like peanut butter. Are you eating peanut butter?
No, I was eating popcorn.
Alright, well, I gotta finish this.
Tell them about the movie after this.
I told him about Lion King.
Yay!
Cool. Now my daughter's gonna be a lion for the next week, by the way. Humble and shy, the meek shall inherit the earth, but it's a long road if they receive no recognition at all. This is possibly defenders' biggest challenge, as they are so concerned with others' feelings that they refuse to make their thoughts known or to take any duly earned credit for their contributions. Defenders' standards for themselves are also so high that knowing they could have done some minor aspect of a task better, they often downplay their successes entirely. Yes, I do. Take things too personally? Yes, I do. Defenders have trouble separating personal and impersonal situations. Any situation is still an interaction between two people. After all, and any negativity from conflict or criticism can carry over from their professional to their personal lives and back again. Right? There's that, it's not personal, it's just business. Oh man, that's tough. Yeah, and my wife's told me I take things too personally at times too. So I'm interested to know what you guys think. Should you work on your strengths and making those things better, or should you work on your weaknesses and making those better? Or maybe you think you should work on both. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Repress their feelings. People with the defender personality type are private and very sensitive, internalizing their feelings a great deal. Much in the way that defenders protect others' feelings, they must protect their own, and this lack of healthy emotional expression can lead to a lot of stress and frustration. Yes. So I've really been trying to work on this in the last year or two, and I talk to you guys about this all the time, right? It's the stop lying thing, right? Stop lying to ourselves about how we feel. Stop lying to others about how we feel and what we think. And obviously, you have to steward that appropriately, because the wrong word at the wrong time brings about the wrong result. Just like the right word at the wrong time brings about the wrong result. So I'm really been working on this. I still internalize a lot. I still stuff things away, but I try to be conscious about how I'm feeling and what I think, and making those things known in an honorable and respectful way. Overload themselves. Their strong senses of duty and perfectionism combined with this aversion to emotional conflict to create a situation where it is far too easy for defenders to overload themselves or to be overloaded by others as they struggle silently to meet everyone's expectations, especially their own. Alright, so what I want to say about this one is, I talk a lot about the importance of having a mentor in your life, or even if you don't have a mentor, having good friends in your life who can tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And nothing could be more true for me, regarding this than this portion, right? Because I've had numerous friends and people I respect tell me that I at times take on far too much, or it appears that way, and they wonder how I'm juggling all of it and how I'm dealing with it, and who is suffering because of that, right? Like stretching myself too thin. So something else that I definitely need to work on. Reluctant to change. These challenges can be particularly hard to address since defender personalities value traditions and history highly in their decisions. The situation sometimes needs to reach a breaking point before defenders are persuaded by circumstance or the strong personality of a loved one to alter course. I'd say there's some truth to that with me. I like routine. I like to kind of know what I'm getting myself into. And it's interesting because in my own life right now, like I feel like I'm kind of like in a desert. Like there's all these different things going on in my life, and I used to have a really good routine, and I don't know if control is the right word, but just a flow. And lately I've been feeling like there is no flow, there is no routine. There just is like a chaos is the wrong word, but that's what it feels like sometimes, that there's no synergy, nothing's like coming together. It's just like so rough and rigid, and it's been eating at me. Alright, too altruistic. This is all compounded and reinforced by defenders' otherwise wonderful quality of altruism. Being such warm, good-natured people, defenders are willing to let things slide, to believe that things will get better soon, to not burden others by accepting their offers of help while their troubles mount unassisted. Yeah, there's some truth to that in my life. I'm definitely pro at willing to let things slide, and that's kind of goes back to the right being truthful about things, in telling others, yeah, that's no big deal, or don't worry about it, when really it probably is a bigger deal than what I'm making it out to be. And I do need to worry about it, or they need to worry about it, because it's placed an unnecessary burden on me, right? So it's all about being truthful to yourself, and really learning to speak up for yourself, and let others know what you need. So this is definitely probably one of the most important things that I need to work on and constantly be aware of. So I want to encourage you guys, maybe do this for yourself, and come back and let me know what personality type you are, so I can go in here and study you and dissect you and learn all this interesting stuff about you and never forget it, because my personality type says I won't. But yeah, 16 personalities, good test. So I just thought I'd peel back the curtain for you guys tonight on a little bit more of who I am inside, or who they say I am, and just share this with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this tonight. If you need anything, hit me up, and we'll see what we can do to help you out, whether that's just somebody to listen to, or not somebody to listen to. You used to be the one talking. If you need someone to listen to you because you need to get something off your chest, and you don't have somebody safe that you can go to, I would not mind being that person for you. It's crazy. I was just telling someone else again this morning, like, asking them, like, why it is that people tell me stuff that they never tell anybody else, right? Like these huge, like, secrets, without me, like, asking. Like, someone just told me the other day that I seem like I'm a very trustworthy person. And I don't know if that's because of the stuff that I'm doing, like with this Mike the Mentor thing, or like, I just find that fascinating. Like, right, like what is it? What's this energy that I put off that makes people uh, feel that way? Right? Is that a gift? Maybe it is. So anyway, sorry, got off track there. So if you need anything, um, I love you, and I'd be willing to listen and to help you out however I can. Otherwise, we will see you back here tomorrow, Wednesday, for Wednesday Wisdom. Have a good night. Peace.